In 1857, Queen Victoria was shocked by the nudity of a statue. But this wasn't just any statue. It was Michelangelo's David, a masterpiece that has been stirring up controversy for centuries. Can you imagine? The Queen of England, taken aback by the unabashed nudity of a marble figure, orders a plaster fig leaf to cover up David's modesty. But why did this statue cause such a stir? And how did a piece of Renaissance art end up shaking Victorian sensibilities? That's the story we're about to explore. A story that blurs the line between art, morality, and censorship. In the early 1500s, a young Michelangelo was presented with a challenging task. He was given a block of Carrara marble. He was no ordinary artist. This wasn't just any block of marble, though. It had history. Two other sculptors had previously attempted to carve it, but abandoned their efforts. This block, known as the Giant, had been lying in the workshop of the Cathedral of Florence for more than 25 years. Michelangelo, however, saw potential in this neglected piece of stone. He believed he could carve a figure from it that would symbolize the strength and courage of the city of Florence. And so, in 1501, he began his work. The task was not easy. The marble was flawed, and the previous attempts to sculpt it left it in a challenging shape. But Michelangelo was undeterred. He worked on the statue for over 2 years, painstakingly chiseling away to reveal the figure of David. The result was a masterpiece. Standing over 17 feet tall, David was depicted not as a victorious hero after his battle with Goliath, but as a young man in the moments before the fight. He stands in a relaxed pose, but his eyes are fixed on his enemy, a sling draped over his shoulder. This was a departure from the traditional depictions of David, adding a sense of tension and anticipation to the statue. Upon its unveiling in 1504, the statue was immediately hailed as a work of genius. It was strategically placed outside the Palazzo Vecchio, the government offices of Florence, serving as a silent symbol of the city's strength and defiance against the powerful Medici family. Over the centuries, the statue of David has become one of the world's most recognized works of art. And here's a fun fact for you. Did you know that the original block of marble used for David was considered flawed and was left untouched for 40 years before Michelangelo turned it into his masterpiece? That's right. What was once deemed imperfect was transformed into one of the most famous statues in the world. Talk about a glow-up. The features that made it a masterpiece also made it controversial. This brings us to the next chapter of the story. So, David, standing tall and proud in the heart of Florence. But with his blatant nudity, he was also stirring up quite a bit of controversy. David's lack of attire surprised everyone, not just Queen Victoria. Even Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo's contemporary and another titan of the Renaissance, suggested a bit of modesty wouldn't hurt. He proposed a tasteful loincloth for David. Yes, even the man who gave us the Mona Lisa thought David could use a bit of a cover-up. Moving to more recent times, David's nudity is still causing a stir. Let's cast our eyes on an event at a Florida charter school. Parents were up in arms over their children being exposed to Renaissance art, including David, in their art class. The debate over art versus immorality was reignited, proving that even after 500 years, David still knows how to make headlines. Over the years, there have been various attempts to dress David. Of these, the plaster fig leaf that Queen Victoria ordered is undoubtedly the most well-known. But there have been others, too, from strategically placed loincloths to digital additions in reproductions. People have tried to preserve David's modesty in various ways. David continues challenging our perceptions of art, morality, and censorship in all his naked glory. And let's be honest, he's probably the only guy who could pull off the naked with a fig leaf look. But speaking of fig leaves, a story takes the cake regarding David's many controversies. This brings us to a new chapter that takes us away from Florence and into the royal halls of Buckingham Palace. This is the story of Queen Victoria and the replica of Michelangelo's David. But before we get into that, if you're enjoying this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss out on more fascinating stories like this one. Now, let's return to Queen Victoria and her encounter with David. In 1857, a special delivery arrived at Buckingham Palace. It was a gift from the Grand Duke of Tuscany to Queen Victoria, a full-size replica of Michelangelo's David. Now, imagine the scene. The replica is unveiled, and there stands David, just as nude as the original, in the heart of the Victorian court. Queen Victoria's reaction was one for the history books. She was shocked. The statue's nudity, a subject of debate and controversy in Florence, was now stirring up a storm in the heart of the British Empire. In her royal wisdom, Queen Victoria decided that something had to be done, and so she ordered the attachment of a plaster fig leaf to preserve David's modesty. Yes, the Queen of the United Kingdom, the ruler of the vast British Empire, was playing stylist to a marble statue. But this act was more than just a royal whim. It reflected societal perceptions of nudity in art during Queen Victoria's reign. The Victorian era was known for its strict moral codes and prudishness. The fig leaf clearly indicated these values. It was a statement that even art had to bow to the norms of decency and modesty. The fig leaf had a lasting impact on how the statue was displayed in the future. When the replica of David was moved to the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, the fig leaf became a permanent fixture. It was hung on the statue using 2 hooks whenever royalty visited the museum. Over time, the fig leaf became as much a part of the history of David as the statue itself. The story of Michelangelo's David continues. The statue's influence extends far beyond the controversies and the debates. It's time to turn our attention to the enduring legacy of David and its impact on art and culture worldwide. The story of Michelangelo's David, with its controversies and fig leaves, has traveled beyond the borders of Florence. The statue's influence has permeated global culture, making David one of the most recognized figures in art history. Replicas of David can be found worldwide, from the streets of Paris to the parks of New York. These replicas serve as a testament to the enduring appeal of Michelangelo's masterpiece, a symbol of the universal appreciation for art and beauty. But David's influence isn't limited to the world of art. He's made his way into popular culture as well. Remember that episode of The Simpsons where Homer becomes an artist and his masterpiece is a junk sculpture representing David? That's right, our marble hero has even made it to Springfield. And then there are the unique stories that add to the legend of David. One such story involves a cardiologist diagnosing David with a medical condition. Yes, you heard that right. A cardiologist noticed David's neck vein bulging unusually, which could indicate cardiovascular disease. Who knew that a statue could have health issues? These stories and influences highlight the enduring legacy of Michelangelo's David. From its creation in the heart of Florence to its global recognition, the statue of David continues to captivate, inspire, and even educate us. It's a testament to the timeless appeal of art, a reminder of the power of creativity, and a symbol of the enduring human spirit. And with that, we've traced the story of Michelangelo's David, from a single block of marble in Florence to the global icon it is today. We've explored the controversies, the cultural impact, and the unique stories surrounding this masterpiece. Until next time, keep exploring the fascinating stories that art has to tell.